Our student trustee, go ahead. Trustee Gonzalez, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, which, oh, sorry.
Nikki.
Wow. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want to read the statement of cooperation? First, we have the roll call. Can we have the roll call, please?
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yeah.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes.
Yep.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Here.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes, here.
You have a quorum.
Trustee Johannes, I've asked you to please read our statement of cooperation.
Sure. The Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees is committed to our effectiveness as a board. Through an annual self-evaluation and the establishment of meaningful goals, we dedicate ourselves to functioning as a high-performing team on behalf of the people we represent and helping students reach their educational goals. We, therefore, commit to honoring and upholding these commitments in words and in action. The full statement of cooperation is attached to the agenda item, but in summary, we commit to, number one, build trust and seek to understand each other. Number two, be prepared and follow good governance and ethical protocols. And three, model the behavior you want others to exhibit.
Thank you, trustee. Can I now get a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, sorry. There were no reportable actions taken in closed section. Now can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Oh, right now. Okay.
We don't have a second yet.
I'll second.
There we I would like to, in discussion, I would like to remove item 7.14 from consent to action.
That's acceptable to me as the seconder. Who is the primary?
That was me. Sorry, which I,
7.14
Oh.
in consent.
that's fine with me.
Okay. Any discussion? No, can please have a roll call?
Student trustee Withrow, trustee Withrow. Trustee Gonzalez Ewan. Trustee Napoli Bellarice. Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Johannes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito. Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I now get a motion to approve the minutes from May 13th meeting?
Move approval.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice. Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Do we have any associated student government reports? No reports? We have a Peralta Classified Senate report.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening. Yes, so to our trustees, Chancellor Gilkerson, Peralta colleagues, students, and community members. So tonight is my last time addressing you as the Peralta Classified Senate President. While I have enjoyed many aspects of Senate and shared governance work, it does feel like the right time for me to pass the torch. In previous years, classified Senate participation was at a minimum, whereas we have done significantly better in recent history at reaching our goals of 15 senators for the PCS and filling those committee seats. Last month, we did receive the results of our 5 campus Senate elections. However, I regret that I am unable to announce the election results of the new PCS president and officers as that meeting where the election will take place occurs in a matter of days. Of course, the results of that election will be shared out. In any event, while it hasn't always been a smooth journey, I truly value the time and experience serving as the classified Senate president for the district, always mindful of straddling the work of the Senate and my union work. The Senate has made notable progress with more consistent committee representation, drafting notable APs, making recommendations, all of which is in line with our mission to enhance Peralta's decision-making process by bringing that pragmatic, collaborative, frontline perspective that bridges policymaking and procedural implementation to improve students' educational experience in support of their success. I am proud of the Senate's accomplishments over the years, and there is more than enough important work yet to be completed. Whoever my successor will be, I wish them and their Senate officers the best of luck and success. And while it is rewarding work, bear in mind that it is very much harder than it actually looks on the surface. And with that, I wish you all an enjoyable summer break. Thank you and good evening.
The board would like to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Do we have a District Academic Senate report?
Hi, folks. Thanks. I'm Matthew Goldstein, and like Roberto, this will be my valedictory address this evening. I'm stepping down as DAS president, so this will be my last regular BOT meeting for you in my role as president. Just a quick set of observations about the last couple of years and some that came out of our last meeting on May 20th. So folks may have seen that we've elected new leadership. So effective July 1st, President Leslie Blakey from Laney College will be leading the DAS, and her vice president will be Dr. Tom Renbarger from Merritt. They will be accompanied by Lori Allen Requa as secretary and Fatima Shah from BCC. And again, they start July 1st. The May 20th session also featured the unanimous passage of a resolution that I know the board is well aware of, and the chancellor too, that called for Peralta to sign on to this call for constructive engagement with the American Association of Colleges and Universities. The DAS was very happy that that was a non-controversial move here locally, and that Dr. Gilkerson appended the district's name to that list of very prestigious institutions of higher education. So it's good that we're linking arms with a number of institutions of higher learning in this moment where, as we've seen, there's unprecedented government interference in the work that we do. So thanks to the board and thanks to the chancellor for committing Peralta to joining forces with all those schools around the country. I also wanted to say again, this has been a bit of a refrain up here, how much it means to DAS and to the colleges generally that we finally published a new shared governance manual after years of limbo. So we remain thrilled that that's in place and that we have this new working model that's been formally approved and which we will continue to improve over the years to come. So it's been really wonderful working with Chancellor Gilkerson on that. And again, I think the district stands to reap major benefits from its use over the years to come. As a final note, I just want to say, and this is a bit of a callback to remarks that I've made from the podium over the last couple of years, but I really encourage the board to reach out regularly to faculty and to staff and to students. It's sort of geographically natural that the board would rely principally on the district office for most of its sense of what's happening around the district. But as I've said to all of you individually and from this podium, I feel very strongly that the board is best served when it gets kind of a kaleidoscopic view of what's happening around the district. And that's really important to talk to faculty and talk to staff and talk to students, not only the leaders, but the rank and file members as well. So I know not all of you need that encouragement, but I really, really hope that you'll continue to do so. And we'll make a self-conscious effort to reach out energetically. And I can, I guess, promise/threaten that I will continue to reach out to you even as I ride off into the DAS sunset. So thanks so much for the last couple of years. I appreciate your indulgence, and I'll be back. Thanks.
The board also would like to thank you for your service, President Goldstein. We'll now move to public comments. Please remember this portion of public comment is only for items that are not on the agenda. If you have a comment on a public hearing item, please wait for that item to be called to make your comment. Board Clerk, do we have any public comment tonight?
Yes, Board President, we do. First is Rachel Mercy Simpson.
Oh, do I?
I'm sorry, can you confirm Dominic who? Who's? Okay, they ceded their time to you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Rachel Mercy Simpson. I'm Rachel Mercy Simpson, a tenured faculty member at BCC's Multimedia Arts Program and lead of the video strand since 2009. This is the National Award for Faculty Innovation I won, but more accurately, we won from the American Association of Community Colleges. I received this national award for long-term relationships we built with Pixar, KQED, and the California Film Institute. Ours is not a me program, it's a we program. Thank you, Peralta Trustees, for all the years you've supported BCC's multimedia department. When I first began teaching at BCC, the program had been run as an experimental arts program. At that time, a radio journalist came to study at BCC to transition into TV. He characterized our program as great fun, but as useful as an ashtray on a motorcycle. I took that to heart, and my mission became turning this into a world-class career prep program. I set out to build a faculty of working industry professionals, including people from Pixar, Lucasfilms, KQED, PBS, and other Bay Area powerhouses. It has taken years to nurture these relationships. Gradually, we brought on adjuncts who had been nominated for Emmys and Oscars. Adjuncts are a critical part of our media program and its success. And students come to our program because we have professionals from the industry teaching cutting-edge technology. Our full-time instructors cannot keep up with industry in the same way as our adjuncts who work day in, day out using the current technology. Adjuncts connect our students to industry by showing our students how technology is employed in a working environment. Adjuncts connect our students to industry via internships, gigs, and by bringing in professional guest lecturers and panels who do portfolio reviews. As a district, we are facing tight budget cuts and hard decisions. We face a reality where some programs will no longer be judged as viable and will be discontinued, and others will merge. Laney's media program was recently discontinued, and Marla Leach was transferred to our video strand. Although our two programs linked under the broad term of media, Laney and BCC's programs teach very different technology and skills. Marla came and spoke with you last month about her concerns, including needing to learn new technology from scratch. At BCC, we instruct some incredibly complex programs that take years to master and gain certification. We employ 5 adjuncts in video at BCC, and we hope to maintain these powerful ties with industry. As we try to navigate these budget cuts, I urge you to consult with faculty. BCC's multimedia strand has an industry-packed advisory board who tell us what specific skills and technology we need to teach so our students can build sustainable careers in film. We do not want to compromise our students' ability to gain employment in these industries. So, Chancellor, trustees, college presidents, and the union, as mergers or discontinuations are planned, can we slow down to examine more closely how can we preserve what is already strong and vital in our programs? Not just multimedia, but all our departments across colleges. What do we need to teach in order for our students to transfer to the best universities? How can we ensure that CTE students get their toe in the door and enter the workforce while they still are training at Peralta? I told you I was going to tell you a love story. That radio journalist I mentioned in the beginning, he met his wife in an editing class at BCC, and together they formed a media company and they won an Emmy. But the bigger love story is us here, now. Thank you, beloved community. And on that note, I'd like to give a shout to our students and alumni. Please raise your hand if you have, let's see, wait, you gotta, if you earned high honors or honors in our program. Congratulations. Raise your hand if you first started working, while you were at BCC through connections you got through our faculty. Raise your hands if you are raise your hand if you are transferring to a university or you transferred to a university after BCC. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. And I'd also like to say, raise your hand if you are currently working and supporting yourselves working in media. Wow. I want to give a special thank you to David Flores, who's executive director at BTV, Devron, who is head of tech at Baycat, and and Shaw, who just won a slew of awards, including an Emmy scholarship and the Berkeley Film Foundation Award. And most of all, thank you, students, and thank you, district. We are going through such hard times, and I just want us to go through it together. And please reach out to us, and may we support your goals and also continue to bring our students the best education we possibly can. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Sarita Young.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sarita Young, and I am a Berkeley City College alumni who is now the newest faculty member in the Multimedia Arts Department in BCC. I was a student in the very same classroom that I now teach in. I am here to tell you my story with the hopes that you see the value of the Multimedia Department at Berkeley City College. First, let's begin with my experience as a student. As an active community member and student who is working 2 jobs while in school, I was the secretary of the Black Student Union and volunteering my time for several causes. In 2018, I graduated with high honors and 2 associate degrees. I was inspired to pursue a career as a filmmaker because of the instructors I had at the video production department. They were extremely knowledgeable and active professionals in the film industry. They would often identify the industry standards they were experiencing in real time and convey it to our classes and incorporate it into weekly lessons. These lessons have been invaluable to me, even now as a professional in my own career. Along with providing industry standard education, my then instructor and now co-faculty member, Rachel Mercy, supported me in my journey of professional development. First, she selected me to be a part of our department's annual film festival with filmmakers from Pixar. Over the years, 70 students have been selected to shoot, edit, and screen films for the Pixar Youth Film Festival. Secondly, I received a letter of recommendation from Rachel, which helped me get accepted amongst 3% of transfer students into UCLA's renowned School of Film and Television. This support has changed the trajectory of my life. Now that you know more about my journey as a student, let's fast forward to my professional career. I have since graduated with my bachelor's in 2020 and began my professional career working on set as a camerawoman, assistant director, and production assistant on over 160 film sets to date, including award-winning film shorts, thank you, and client work for companies and nonprofits like Google, Treasure Island, and Black Joy Parade. In 2024, I was hired to be a video production instructor, and now I have the honor of imparting my knowledge on my students. My goal as an instructor is to continue to assist students in
10
gaining
seconds.
access into the film industry and to be an inspiration. I hope to continue to have the amazing opportunity to support the Peralta District, and I hope you all continue to support Berkeley City College's multimedia program. Thank you for your time tonight.
Next, we have Ido Bartana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ido. I come today as a Berkeley City College alum, specifically from the multimedia department. I graduated in 2020 and transferred to San Francisco State. But transfer, I think, is the easy thing that community college does. I want to talk more about the professional skills and how I got to where I am. In the last 5 years, I've worked, I was working at shooting sports for the Warriors, for Giants, doing both control room stuff and camera work. I've been freelancing. All of COVID, all the work I got was freelance work that I got all the skills through PCC classes. I was able to build my portfolio. I was able to just support myself and stay afloat when everyone else was struggling. And that's all thanks to the professors I had and the connection I had in the years I was going through the program. It's not only that the professors know the industry and the little tips and little tricks and how to kind of navigate the industry. They introduced us to people, they opened the doors for us and kind of pushed us through. It's really easy to know what to do when you get there. When I transferred to SF State, I was way ahead of all the other students because of everything I learned at BCC. To this day, when I work at ABC now. I worked at Cron as a director. I work at again, just some of my things that I mentioned earlier. Throughout the 5 years that I've been working in the industry, I constantly hear professors' little tips and tricks and little things that change it. If you ever watch like in any video, the little things that are just irritating or annoying, things that if you don't do it every day and if you don't work in the industry, you don't really know, but something feels off. Those are things I learned at BCC and I think about and do every day on my job, putting things on the air. The connections and how to connect and how to network with people and how to just position yourself to get ahead and to advance are all skills I learned at BCC and set me on to make the career that I had until now. So that experience, that direct connection to the industry and to people that work currently, and that stay updated is extremely important and extremely valuable. And that's something that I think is unique to
10
BCC.
seconds.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lily Thorson, and after that, Paula Welsh. Oh my God, sorry.
Hello, my name is Lily Thorson, and I just graduated Berkeley City College last month with highest honors. I received my associate's for a transfer degree in film, television, and electronic media. And over the course of my education, I have embarked on 5 internships. The first one was as an assistant editor at PBS Digital Studios. My second one was with Actual Films, a renowned documentary production company in the Presidio. And one of the films that I worked on during my internship has premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. Third, and currently, I am filming, producing, and editing videos for Shotgun Players, a beloved theater in Berkeley. And I'm also currently wrapping up an internship that highlights the histotechnology and microscopy science programs at Merritt College. And all of these internships I couldn't have acquired without my professors and faculty members at Berkeley City College because they have so much fresh and relevant connections to the industry. So they knew like, oh, I know this person at this company, they're looking for people and you should apply. And so I did. And I also couldn't have gotten those opportunities without the education that my professors provided me because they had so much usable knowledge that I turned into skills. And the companies were like, yes, let's hire you. So yeah, all these internships gave me so much confidence and such a strong foundation for my career, my budding career. When I first came to BCC, it was after working in retail and food service for 4 years, and I was unfulfilled and very drained, and I wanted direction in my life, and I wanted to have a career that was meaningful, where I could exercise my creativity, but was also fruitful, and I felt confident that I could make a living. And the faculty members at BCC, they not only nurtured my creativity, but they gave me tangible skills to apply it in career settings. And now I feel confident in continuing to pursue my career. And I owe that to all the amazing faculty members at Berkeley City College. Thank you.
Paula Welsh, after that, Veronica Jones.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see you with a lot of faces from the reception a couple of weeks ago. I'm Paula Welsh. I'm a business owner here in Oakland. I've been in business about 40 years now. I have a salon on Lake Shore. In '92, I started my second business, which is marketing, public relations, event planning, which I've done a lot of events for Merritt College, including your graduations. What I want to talk about tonight is my nonprofit. And that means nonprofit. That's just what it means, too. So I am here to solicit some support from you. I started out in a 2-year college and worked my way up until I finally reached the top. So what I am here to talk about tonight, and I bought a couple of handouts so that you can look through here at your leisure of what I'm talking about. And then I'll come back to what my big is. My late husband and I started this program. Oh. This was my late husband's idea to start the Oakland Teen Empowerment Program. So he and the police chief set me up and said that they needed me to do something because Oakland was #2 for trafficking. And by me doing PR event planning, they volunteered me to do a program, which I had nothing to do with. So I started it. It's family owned and run and managed. We started in 2014. My daughter is celebrity chef Nikki Shaw. My son-in-law is the Clipper coach for the LA Clippers, formerly the Lakers. My grandkids are the president of the Deltas and graduate from Davis. So we all start right here in Oakland. When I started this program, Romeo Garcia and Dr. Webb said, "You're doing this program." What we do with these girls, we take them out of high school. We teach them everything, second language. They have to learn how to build a website. They have to learn about AI. They have to learn about health, all of that etiquette. And there's a picture of Dr. Webb in here. She loves this program. So what I am here for is to ask for your assistance, wish list.
20 seconds.
We need a workshop room donated to us. Hopefully the one that opens out to the courtyard that we used before. We need to use the computer lab one day for a computer class. We need potential sponsors, if you could recommend. We need laptops. We give the girls laptops and desktops.
Time is up.
And thank you.
Veronica Jones and then Matthew Goldstein.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm just going to piggyback on Ms. Paula Welsh was explaining. I have been her support system for the Oakland Team Empowerment Program, and I am also a alumni, Peralta alumni. As many have stated tonight, that Peralta provides you with so many skills and assets in order to accomplish your career. What Paula Welsh was going to go on to say is that we give the students a gateway to the Peralta. We provide them with workshops, mentorships, and we just let them know that there is another way to a higher education. So we teach them that a 2-year community college is the best way to go to get to the 4-year university. You can save a lot of money. You can gain your skills. I remember that as a high school student, I took classes at Peralta, and it gave me the set of skills I needed in order to be a college student and transfer to San Francisco State University. So I know the importance of starting early, putting your education first, and having the assets that you need. So as she was stating, we are looking for a room to be able to do these workshops for the students, possibly mentorship, or if you guys can provide any mentors, that would be a great asset as well. And just having support from you guys to let students know that this is a great program for young girls here in Oakland so that they can have better resources. I want to thank Peralta for giving me the skills that I've required. I now work for the San Carlos School District for upper elementary, and it definitely helped me out a lot. So thank you for your time.
Matthew Goldstein and David Flores afterwards.
I'm back a little sooner than you expected, probably. But now I'm coming to you as a, as a COA humanities instructor, and I'm addressing you as a rank and file faculty member, not as DAS president. And that's why I didn't roll these remarks into my DAS remarks a few minutes ago. I'm really here just to remind the board of all the hard work that's being done at the colleges around the Common Course numbering effort and around the Cal GETC transfer pathway work. This is a tremendous amount of work that's happening at the college level. I'm coming to you as a COA faculty member, so let me just say that on the island, the team that's working under Dr. Porter and the VPI's office is working very hard to meet some teeth-grinding deadlines in these days. I wanted to call special attention to Ann Chun, who's the curriculum specialist on the island and an adjunct English professor as well. She's been working extra hard to make sure that we meet these incredibly tough deadlines. And just to remind folks, these are state mandates that we change our course numbering so that there's a seamless transition from the community colleges to the state university system and the UCs. It's a really important initiative, but as I've said up here in other contexts, it's a tremendous amount of work, and I'm not completely sure that the folks in Sacramento understood the extent of the efforts that were required to get this work done. In addition to Ann Chun, I wanted to call attention to the work being done by the curriculum committee leadership at the College of Alameda. That's Trish Nelson from the English department and Vin Fan, our articulation officer. They've been very generous and patient with and diligent in their work and supportive of, say, rank tyros like myself who are helping to advance this effort. Also at the district level, I wanted to mention Heather Cisneros, who's coordinating this effort district-wide. So you'll find when you speak to folks on the campuses that other faculty members in my role at the colleges have similarly warm things to say about Heather and the work she's doing, and Amani El Masri, who's the curriculum and technical specialist at the district, who, again, has worked over time to make sure that, for example, when curriculum and programs come to you for your consideration, they get here in time and that we're able to meet the demands of the state. So just wanted to shout those folks out and thank them for their efforts. Thank you.
Next, we have David Flores and then Josh Davis.
Oh, is that better? Wasn't on. Whoopsie. Hey, Board of Trustees, David Flores here. Thank you for having me. I'm just here to advocate for the support of the multimedia department over at Berkeley City College. I'm an alum from there. Whenever I first joined, I was a reservist with the Coast Guard and I was doing a public affairs specialist. So I was already working with film and video. So I thought, hey, well, I'm probably not going to be able to learn that much there, but I really did. The quality of education that they have there, as well as the instructors, is really industry standard. I was able to take the work that I was doing there and get a job at Berkeley Community Media, Berkeley's public access TV station, where I'm now currently the executive director. And I've since been able to hire BCC alum and provide support to the students through access to equipment because we try to make it available. We're so close to there. And even bringing in folks who were previous instructors to be master class instructors at my institution. So just to say how high the caliber of education that students are getting there. Additionally, after finishing up over at Berkeley City College, I was able to transfer to UC Berkeley's Film and Media Studies program. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the education I got there, seeing it compared to all these very high achieving students. They have barely touched cameras, like what we were able to get as far as the training that we got at Berkeley City College. So just up here to say they do a really great job. Please continue to support them. They're a great network for the filmmaking community here in the Bay Area. And I couldn't say anything. I can't express how much I appreciate their instruction. So thank you very much.
Next, we have go ahead.
Sorry, we were trying to piggyback off of his time, I believe, if that's okay. Just really quick, I'm Devon Randall. I'm the technical production manager at BayCat, a nonprofit where we teach underserved youth about filmmaking. I take a lot of the skills that I got from BCC.
Sorry, what was your name again? I apologize.
Devon Randall. There might be a second name on that card.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. The skills I got from BCC, I'm able to impart on the youth and young adults at a program that I wholeheartedly believe in. It's something that I've been wanting to do for as a career goal of mine. I would not have learned any of the things that I didn't learn about in high school. In high school, I learned about some things in film, but I would not have gotten as far as I have without being at BCC. Natalie Newman, one of the former professors there, she definitely got me my start in the industry, and it's gotten me so far. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just wanted to add on to that.
What's your name?
My name is Shadid Wallace-Scepter, supporter of the multimedia department at BCC.
Okay, you got like 30 seconds then because
Okay,
they're
cool.
trying to-
Yeah, don't need a lot of time. Just want to advocate for BCC multimedia department. A recipient of it, transfer from BCC this past year, currently in SF State's Beckett department, currently a filmmaker, and just a huge recipient of the multimedia department. Student of Rachel Simpson and Kelly Whalen, who are sitting right there, and just want to give it up for him. Thank you guys for having me.
Next, we have Josh Davis and then Sam Tedeschi afterwards. We're asking to go ahead and make the public comment now. Sam Tedeschi?
Good evening. This for 10.9? Okay. All right. Good evening, members of the board, chancellor, and district representative. My name is Sam Tedeschi, CEO of Marina Security Services. I stand before you today, not just the leader of the company, but as the representative of the team that has proudly served the Bay Area with an integrity, professionalism, and deep community ties for over 30 years. I am here today to formally express our deep concerns and to protest the district's intent to award the security services contract under RFP 2425-18. We believe that the process leading up to this decision raises serious questions of transparency, fairness, and equity. From the beginning, we approached this opportunity with full commitment, submitting a comprehensive and competitive proposal that reflects both our capabilities and our long-standing partnership with the community. Marina Security Service is more than just a vendor. We are partner to the district. We have supported your mission not only through security services, but also by investing in our students, in your students, offering scholarship, internship, employment opportunities, and community sponsorship. We have been present at your events, contributed to your causes, and stood by the districts through times of challenges and growth. This decision, as it stands, discards our track record and the shared values we have created. We respectfully ask the board to reject this proposal of this contract and conduct a thorough review of this process. This protest is not about one company versus another. It's about ensuring that public contracts are awarded with transparency, integrity, and in the best interest of the community we all serve. And thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, we have Ben Murray.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today and giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Ben Herring. I am the Vice President of Marine Security Services. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. I'm going to present a brief narrative of the sort of timeline of the RFP process that we engaged in with the district. On May 9th, the district issued the Security Services RFP initiating the procurement process. Interested parties were given until May 23rd to submit questions for clarification. The district responded by publishing the Q&A on May 27th. We submitted our formal proposal by the outlined requirement date of May 30th. On June 2nd, we received an informal intent to award, an email indicating that multiple companies had been selected. It stated that we would receive further information the following day regarding which portions of the district work would be assigned to our company. We were also asked whether we would be willing to sign the master service agreement as originally presented in the RFP. We confirmed our willingness to sign the agreement without any changes, just as is. The following day, June 3rd, a formal intent to award was issued, naming 3 selected companies, including ours. However, the communication made it clear that final approval was pending this board meeting, that no allocations will be made until afterwards. On June 4th, we received a new version of the master service agreement. This version differed substantially from the original agreement included in the RFP and contained several terms that were highly unfavorable to us as a contractor. By June 6th, we discovered that project authorization forms for the other vendors, Diligence Security and Aventus Security, had already been uploaded to the board's documentation system in preparation for board approval in this meeting today. On the same day, this awarded the entirety of the district to the other companies and left nothing allocated for Marina Security. We communicated our position on the master service agreement that we would not sign it as is, but we are happy to enter into a negotiation process to discuss it further. This last minute change to the master service agreement was drastically different, contained multiple items that were extremely unfavorable to us. And again, it's not something we could sign as is, but happy to review further. Thank you.
Next, we have Robert Stang, and that is our last public comment for tonight until 10:9.
Thank you, members for the board and public, for hearing my comments. I'm Robert Stang, speaking on behalf of Marina Security. I have over 20 years of experience with public contracts, winning public contracts, serving public contracts at entities such as SFO, SFMTA, World Airports in Los Angeles, Port of Oakland, SFMTA, et cetera. And sharing in my experiences, the process that we participated in here, there's a lot of concerns, and I just wanted to share those with the board. Again, this comes from the experiences that I have with many other public entities. Whether I'm a vendor, a community member, or any other constituent in someone like Peralta Community Colleges, what we want to have is a process that's fair, it's transparent, there's enough resources dedicated to making a decision for a contract of this size. This is a very large contract, and it's not a simple contract to administer. So some of the concerns about the process, it was a rushed process. For example, all of the vendors submitted very extensive qualifications in a written RFP process, including financials and schedules. On a Friday, they were received by panelists who then turned around and scored multiple vendors on a Monday. That's highly irregular for panelists to be expected to produce the effort required to discern what's in these proposals and come up with a scoring. So I just wanted to point that out to the board. There were also no pre-bid meetings where complex questions could have been asked and answered. For example, the current contract that we serve has over 11,000 hours of security on the schedule. But in a written request of a question by another vendor to the panelists, they stated that there was 1,500 hours. So with that misinformation and it not being addressed or corrected, how could accurate proposals be produced and scored? No interviews. It's highly irregular for a contract of this size to not interview at least a select number of panelists, usually including the incumbent, so that they can kind of have a comparison. So I want to point that out, that that was also not part of this process. So I would like the board to not approve the contract. I would urge you to look at the process and say, was there enough effort commensurate with the size and complexity of this contract? I appreciate you hearing our public comments, and I urge you to consider taking some steps to review what we've brought forth to you today. Thank you.
Next, we have Michael Williams. Michael Williams.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Michael Williams. I admittingly was not made fully aware of the information, but in its entirety, but I was made aware that of the basic summation. I work as a dispatcher for Marina Security Services out of this very building. I'm basically just coming here to talk about the importance of having a union, and as it concerns my particular position. Well, there are quite a great deal of us working in the security department throughout the various colleges in the district, and having union representation is important to all of us for various reasons. But for me, it is trifold, because union protection allows me to have the protection of knowing that when I take time off for things such as medical leave, which I am on right now, I will have a job when I prepare to come back. It guarantees that I will have my medical as well, which I need because I am a epileptic, and I am prone to having seizures if I do not have my medical. As you can see, I wear glasses, so therefore I need vision coverage and dental and things of that nature as well. So I am encouraging the board to continue to work with the present company, Marina, and particularly with a union, because it is important for individuals such as myself to have that union representation in order for us to maintain our job security. Thank you.
Next is Josh Davis.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Josh Davis. My firm, Fellner Law Group, represents Marina Security Services, and they've protected this Peralta campuses for almost 5 years now. Earlier today, my office sent a letter to Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees, and I want to make sure that it was received. If not, I have some copies here. I don't know who to give these to, but I'll leave them here. And we would respectfully ask that you table agenda item 10.9. There's fundamental defects in the procurement, and until they're fixed, I believe that it's important that you table or reject it. I want to talk about 5 different items quickly. First, there's unequal information. The RFP listed wrong coverage hours. 2 competitors somehow fixed those numbers without any district addendum, and one even copied Marina's proprietary pricing template. That means key data leaked, and that violates the playing field that your policies promote and promise. And second, the agreement keeps moving. Marina agreed to sign the master service agreement exactly as published, but then they got a material different draft, and they were told to sign it as is. And so the changing of the contract terms midstream is unfair and exposes the district to challenge. Third, there's an opaque scoring. Reviewer scores for the same proposal vary by 29 points with no explanation. And that kind of spread raises some red flags. Fourth, there's critical information missing tonight. The packet gives diligence 5 project authorizations and Aventus 3, each with hours and dollars. Marina has 0 PAAs, no staffing levels, no compensation, no campus assignments. And so approving a contract that has no scope or price defies fiscal prudence. And fifth, the entire process was just rushed. They received, and the time was just simply too compressed for this $5.45 million contract. That's a lot of money. Peralta staff received the proposals on a Friday and then made a decision with an intent to award on a Monday. And so that, for this kind of contract, this kind of money being spent to protect Peralta campuses is pretty short. So again, we'd ask you to do 2 things. 1, table or reject item 10.9, and 2, order an independent audit of scoring, confidentiality, and staff conduct. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Cheryl Yancey.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Yancey. I've worked in the security industry for over 4 years and have been a proud union member for the past 12 years. Since joining the union, I've seen firsthand how it improves lives. I've experienced better wages, better benefits, improved working conditions, and most importantly, better health conditions. These are not just talking points for me. They're personal. Before I joined the union, I struggled with health issues. With the raises I received in the union, I was able to pay my rent, pay my co-pays, and my medications I rely on. Without that support, I don't know how I would have managed. Union jobs make a real difference. I'm here to urge Peralta District to continue the marina security contract, which will allow me to continue to live in Oakland, pay my bills, pay for my medication, my co-pays, and continue to work for a great company. Marina security doesn't just support a company, it supports workers like me. It allows me to keep working, keep paying my bills, and keep contributing to a stronger, safer community. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Next, we have Jasmine King and then Ruth Vallejos afterwards.
Oh my goodness. I'm nervous, but my name is Jasmine King. I've been with Marina Security for 4 years, and they just got a union, and usually like unions help you keep your jobs and they help you with a lot of other things. So I don't know. I'm a single mother, and so keeping the union together, I feel like is a good help for me so I can help my kids because I'm right across the street from my job, but so also it's just a big help, period, because doing it by yourself and then having somebody that can help you is better, but it's me by myself. It takes a village, so please, please think about it. Please, give us some, courtesy. I hope you guys go with a good thought. I don't really know what to say, but thank you.
Next, we have Ruth Vallejos.
I'm a little nervous also. Good evening. My name is Ruth Vallejos. I have been doing security for 3 years now, and I would like to talk about the standards provided by having a union job in security and keeping it as a protected union job. And the reason why is because I don't know how many of you guys have families or children. I myself have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and having this job helps me provide for my daughter, whether it's with food, clothes, or even doctor's visits. Not only that, but having this job also provides a roof over my daughter's head, not to mention all the other bills on the side. That's why it is important to me to keep a union within the job because they can provide benefits for the workers that we need, whether it is medical or just support from them when it comes to the employees. So I please hope and pray you guys take in consideration that we have families too, and we need to be able to provide for them to give them a better life. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
That is all the public comment we have for tonight.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We'll now hear from the chancellors for her report.
Well, good evening, trustees and district community. First of all, happy Pride Month. I hope you all noticed our beautiful Pride flags flying on the pole outside of the district office. The Peralta Colleges are proud to support LGBTQ plus community and Pride Month with you all. On Wednesday, May 14th, the day after our last board meeting, I was honored to be featured panelist on the webinar Basic Needs of Foundational Support, sponsored by Chales, the Community College Higher Ed Access Leadership Equity Scholarship at San Diego State University in collaboration with the State Chancellor's Office. I provided some strategies for how institutions can help students with basic needs, such as housing, food, and transportation insecurities, which we know are critical for student success. You'll be hearing from me more in the coming months about student basic needs and the results of the statewide survey that just wrapped up earlier this semester, and we'll be publishing our results in the fall term. On May 14th, 2025, the Peralta Community College District held its 5th annual Raíces Latinx graduation celebration at Berkeley City College. The event, open to all, honored the achievements of our Latinx graduates from Berkeley City College, College of Alameda, Laney College, and Merritt College, offering an opportunity to celebrate a significant milestone with students and their families. Thank you to Board President Quinlan and Board Vice President for being there. And thank you to Trustee Deanna Delphine Polk for speaking to the graduates and sharing your story. And of course, thank you to President Richardson and the Berkeley City College team for hosting. Many thanks to the 20 members of the Raíces Graduation Planning Committee for your hard work. The ceremony was wonderful, full of music, dance, and inspirational words, and kicking back with familia at the reception immediately following afterwards was just lovely. Congratulations, graduates. On the evening of Thursday, May 15th, I headed over to the island where I had the honor of joining College of Alameda President Melanie Dixon and Vice President of Instruction Nicole Porter on a panel of Alameda women leaders sponsored by the Alameda Chamber and Economic Alliance. Only 33% of college and university presidents are women. We had a frank conversation about women in leadership roles and the amazing things happening at College of Alameda and within the Peralta Community College District. My thanks to Maurice Ramirez for sharing photos from the event. My thanks to Alameda Chamber for inviting my colleagues and me to lead the conversation. And many thanks to President Dixon and VPI Porter for your leadership and commitment to students and our community. On Saturday, May 17th, 2025, the Peralta Association of African American Affairs, PA, proudly hosted the 17th annual African American graduation for the Peralta Community College District. The vibrant event, open to all, celebrated the rich tapestry of the African diaspora while honoring the remarkable achievements of graduates from all 4 of the Peralta colleges. Oakland City Council member Rowena Brown, a proud Laney College graduate, was the keynote speaker. My gratitude to Dr. Lawrence Van Hook and the PA Graduation Planning Committee for another memorable ceremony. A highlight for me was getting to hear Benton Smith sing again. Benton sang an original song at the Peralta College's Foundation meet and greet last month, and he sang another beautiful composition at this graduation, Rise Up, which happens to be a personal favorite of mine. Benton is graduating from Laney and plans to continue his education at the world-famous Berkeley, 2 E's, School of Music in Boston. My thanks again to Board President Quinlan, Vice President Gonzalez Brito, and Trustee Johannes for joining us in the celebration of the class of 2025. On May 20th, 25, we held the annual Peralta District-wide Lavender graduation this year at the College of Alameda. This celebration ceremony honors the accomplishments of our LGBTQIA+ students, recognizing their unique journeys and contributions to our campus communities. The event was open to all and was filled with food, music, love, and a strong sense of community. I had a blast as we recognized the perseverance and triumphs of the graduating class. Thank you to President Dixon and COA for hosting, to Board President Quinlan for being there to support the students, to Natalie Rodriguez for guiding us through the program, to the organizing committee of folks from across each of the colleges, and especially to the student speaker, Emiliano Villa, a graduating journalism major from Laney College, who delivered a poignant keynote speech. So congratulations to Emiliano and to all the graduates. We had 4 incredible college graduations over the last week of May. It was fantastic to see such strong community and family support at each of the graduations. The Laney Stadium was packed for standing room only for the Laney graduation. My thanks to each of the college teams for putting on glorious commencements. Videos of each ceremony and links to photo galleries are posted at www.peralta.edu/graduation. The Peralta marketing team, including Marcus Creel, Faiza Ali, Joe Sullivan, Bendy Yilmaz, Angel Hunter and Mark Johnson helped document each ceremony. Joe Sullivan edited a short 3-minute video. Thank you, Joe, sitting right here, featuring just a few of the many highlights from students speaking at graduation ceremonies, and I hope you like it. Congratulations, class of 2025. Never forget that you are courageous, capable, and powerful beyond measure. You are the change makers, advocates, and innovators.
First and foremost, congratulations, class of 2025. We made it.
And let me just tell you what an honor it is to be with you today. This is my very first graduation speech as the mayor of Oakland, California. So it's an honor to do this.
We challenged every assumption about what students are supposed to look like, how success is supposed to happen, and when it's supposed to come.
We weren't just learning how to pass classes. We were learning how to write our own stories.
As we move forward, remember, the only person you need to compete with is who you were yesterday. Your spark is yours entirely.
This is for our whole village. This is for everyone who believed in our success. This is for those who didn't make it to this moment, but whose prayers and struggle paved the road for us to walk.
I have to say that speaking at this graduation feels actually more powerful somehow than my swearing in. Something about being here with all of you just gives me so much joy, and I have so much gratitude.
So take a deep breath, slap on a big smile, make sure your Jordans are tied tight, and walk across the stage like you earned every single step, because we did.
This year, I applied to 20 universities and I was accepted into all of them. That includes UC Davis, UC Berkeley, and UCLA. I was offered full rides to every college. Today, I am proud to say that I will attend UCLA to complete my bachelor's in political science.
Today, by standing and sharing my story, I'm speaking on behalf for all those who are first generation of immigrants who have to sacrifice everything to find a better life and pay their way for their families.
We changed the narrative of what it means to be a community college student, and the fact that we're all standing here today at the end of the finish line is proof of that.
To all of us, class of 2025, continue pushing forward, continue breaking stereotypes, and continue fighting for your dreams. Thank you.
Each and every one of you are leaders. Each and every one of you are going to make the change in this world that we need.
So if you're still wondering what success looks like, look around. It looks just like all of us.
So with that, congratulations, class of 2025. We did it.
I'll echo the sentiments at the end of that video. Congratulations to the class of 2025. I want to also just say my deep appreciation to all of the faculty, classified professionals, our student employees, the administration, you, the Board of Trustees who supported these amazing stories and the opportunity to help celebrate and graduate so many students. On Wednesday, May 28th, Board President Quinlan and I had the pleasure of spending the day at Lodestar School, part of the Lighthouse Community Public School System, joining other Rotary Club volunteers and speaking with 9th to 12th graders about careers and career preparation at community colleges. We spent about 30 minutes each with different sets of students. President Quinlan and I were partnered and talked about machining, the value of the college education, and their options to accelerate their studies through dual and concurrent enrollment. Speaking with these young people was a blast for us, although it might not have been quite as fun for them as it was their last task before the last day of summer vacation. So I think, it was a captivating honor, but thank you, Trustee Quinlan, Board President Quinlan. It was a great time to be there with you. On Thursday, May 29th, the District Service Center managers and I hosted an employee appreciation luncheon and for the hardworking team here at the district office. We had a scrumptious lunch of tacos prepared by Greg Nelson and BC Hoff and served by district managers. We played Pictionary, Name That Tune, and had a photo contest which produced some fabulous and occasionally somewhat embarrassing photos. Thanks to Kelly Nadler and Amy Marshall for helping me coordinate the activities. I handed out awards to employees who hit service milestones ranging from 5 years to 45 years of service. 45. We also honored 9 DSC employees who are retiring this year. So congratulations to Laura Leon Maurice, Chi Ao, Natasha Spivey, Irma Lastra, Alvarado Nestor Alvarado, Bernie Aranda, Sam Knox, Ophelia Mendoza, and Anthony Machete, the gentleman who received 45 years of service award. We wish you all the best in retirement. On Tuesday, June 3rd, I worked with the West Ed Center for Economic Mobility to convene a gathering at Merritt College to focus on strengthening the healthcare worker pipeline here in the East Bay. The meeting included folks from the Peralta Colleges as well as Chabot Las Positas and the Contra Costa Community College Districts, and other important partners like the Education Fund, SEIU, United Health Workers, Alameda Health System, Asian Health Services, Baywell Health Services, the Permanente Group, and East Bay Innovators. I was excited for Peralta to support this opportunity for East Bay employers, organized labor representatives, the Ed Fund, the State Chancellor's Office, and the 3 East Bay College districts to engage in mutual listening and learning. The objective is to bring employers and labor into the room for a conversation to improve healthcare education and training pathways for incumbent healthcare workers in the East Bay. I'm looking forward to following up on this meeting to create good paying job opportunities for our students interested in a healthcare career and the way they can accelerate that learning. Thank you to President Johnson and the Merritt College team for hosting us. And finally, last month I shared that Jamila Saleh won Merritt College, the Peralta Community College District Classified Professional of the Year, had been selected to be one of 5 California Community College system-wide Classified Professionals of the Year. On May 20th, Jamila traveled to Sacramento and was honored in person at the Board of Governors meeting. After receiving her recognition, Jamila made a brief and heartfelt statement of gratitude with her son, Matthias, echoed. Especially charming the Board of Governors, who then sang happy birthday to Matthias since it was his birthday. Jamila mentioned that it was truly a special honor to be honored on her son's birthday. I think he was turning 7, if I remember. And then Jamila at the Merritt College graduation got to have her twin sons graduate when she gave remarks. So it was kind of like a full circle, beautiful moment. So really happy that. So please check out the video clip. You'll be charmed too. And it really underscores that we're not just community here, we're familia. And that concludes my chancellor's report for this evening. Thank you.
Item 4.1, first reading of board policies. Is there any discussion on this item? If not, we'll move to the next item. Item 4.2, review of administrative procedures. Any discussion on this item? If not, we'll move on to the next item. The consent calendar. Approval of all consent items. Can I now get a motion to approve the consent items except for item 7.14, which has been was asked to remove from the consent agenda?
So moved. Second. Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan, trustee Napoli Bellarice. Oh, you walked out. Trustee Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes.
Yes, and
Trust-
trustee Reese also said yes from afar.
Oh, thank you. Trustee Gonzalez Brito, trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can we combine all 3 and then you can make comments on the 10.1? I'd like to move approval of items 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3. These are all facilities items, change orders, etc. Second.
Call the question?
I think the chancellor has comments.
Okay.
So items 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3, you read my mind. Trustee Gonzalez, you win. Are three resolutions before you tonight asking you to declare futility in bidding and ratifying work done on 3 district projects. Although Public Contract Code Section 2659 typically requires bidding for contract changes over a certain threshold, California courts recognize exceptions when bidding would be impractical or cause costly delays. In these cases, the additional work exceeded the bid threshold, but since each project had already been substantially completed, rebidding would have been delayed progress and increased costs. The added scopes were fully documented, reviewed, and deemed reasonable by district staff. So
Call for the vote?
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice, absent. Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.4. And then I think, go ahead. Chancellor.
Thank you.
Could we combine 10.4 and 10.5 together in a motion? I'll make the motion for approval.
A second.
Thank you.
Chancellor?
So board items 10.4 and 10.5 are agreements reached with each of our units addressing the impacts of the reduction in force. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank our labor partners, Local 39, SEIU 1021, and the Peralta Federation of Teachers for their thoughtful engagement throughout the reduction in force and resignation incentive process. Since the board's February resolution, we've worked closely together to prioritize placing members into needed positions and minimizing disruption whenever possible. I also want to commend the district team for navigating a difficult process with clarity and care, ensuring that notices, rights, and reassignments were handled appropriately and respectfully. These efforts reflect a shared commitment to problem solving and to the well-being of our workforce. I deeply appreciate the collaboration and the steady leadership everyone has shown during a time of tough but necessary decisions.
Can we call the question?
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice, trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'm sorry, point of clarification. We moved to combine them but never moved to approve? Is it,
We just
or is that all in
we
one?
just moved to approve.
We never said the motion to approve. It was the motion was to combine. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So now we
To
approve.
combine and approve.
Okay, I didn't hear the second. Okay, thank you.
Item 10.6, consider approval of the Peralta Community College District 25-26 tentative budget.
Second.
Chancellor?
So this item, board adopts the district's tentative budget for the upcoming fiscal year, allowing us to maintain operations while we finalize the adopted budget later this summer. This proposal is rooted in realistic revenue and expenditure assumptions reflecting both our fiscal constraints and strategic priorities. With the expiration of hold harmless provision under the student-centered funding formula, we now face a new funding floor and remain ineligible for COLA until we reach or exceed our FTES, full-time equivalent students base of 15,524. However, I am pleased to share that tentative FTS numbers for this year have increased with greater enrollment and transition into the new attendance accounting method. So good news, I think, on the horizon for the district. While we are gaining some good ground in some parts of the supplemental allocation of the formula, including an increase in Pell Grant recipients, tentatively up over 500 students district-wide, which I'm very proud of the staff and everybody. The fact remains that 70% of our funding is still enrollment driven. That's why the work underway across our colleges and district through shared governance to streamline operations, eliminate duplication, and enhance student support is not just necessary, it's urgent. I want to recognize and thank everyone who has stepped up this year with serious engagement and thoughtful ideas. This budget reflects the direction set by the board in February and is the result of extensive collaboration across district staff, labor partners, constituency leaders, and the Planning and Budget Committee. It demonstrates real progress as shown in our multi-year projections. Still, we know there's more to come. The adopted state budget and final details around the voluntary resignation incentive and position reductions will further shape our financial outlook. I'm particularly encouraged that a subcommittee of the Planning and Budget Committee will continue working throughout the summer to prepare us for an adopted budget in August. I also want to acknowledge the board's audit and budget committee for their timely and thorough review of the tentative budget last week. With continued focus and discipline, we are positioning the district for long-term stability and improved service to our students and communities. Finally, I want to thank our Chief Operating Officer, Greg Nelson, and the team in Fiscal Services for their outstanding work. This includes Dr. Marla Williams-Powell, Associate Vice Chancellor of Finance and Administration, Dave Vigo, Director of Fiscal Services, and Faria Bakri, Fazia Mousse, and Tammy Taylor, Principal Budget and Finance Analysts, as well as Andrea Stokes, our Senior Financial Analyst, and Richard Fiera, our Executive Assistant for Administrative Services, for all their support with bringing you the tentative budget tonight.
Is there a motion to approve? Call the question?
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan, trustee Napoli Bellarice, trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito, trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.7, consider adoption of a resolution 2425-182, authorizing the amendment of the 2005 indenture of trust relating to the district's other post-employment benefit bonds, authorizing and directing the conversion of the Series B4 bonds to an alternative interest rate, and approving forms of documents and actions of officers of the district necessary and desirable in connection therewith.
Second.
So, board, this resolution authorizes the district to proceed with the conversion of the Series B4 bonds, enabling us to refinance retirement liabilities at a more favorable interest rate and generate long-term savings, an approach outlined in detail during the May board presentation. This is a strategic financial move, not just a procedural step. I want to thank our finance team, legal counsel, and retirement board representatives for their diligence in bringing forward a recommendation that protects retiree commitments while using our existing assets more effectively to reduce long-term obligations. I also want to take a moment, frankly, to acknowledge the engagement of our Peralta Retirees Organization, otherwise known as PRO, who've given years of dedicated service to our district and care deeply about ensuring our commitment to honoring our obligation to retirees. Both your questions and challenges to our recommendations make us better. While this action strengthens the district's financial position, not just for current operations, but for future employees and most importantly, our students, it is also illustrative of our greatest strength in discourse, critical thinking, and moving us forward. When paired with the board's February commitment to contribute up to $14 million in additional pension payments over the next 5 to 6 years, this resolution reflects a disciplined, forward-looking strategy. Together, these actions will help us manage risk, improve our credit ratings, reduce borrowing costs, and ensure the district's long-term financial health. Thank you.
Call the question, please.
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice, trustee Delphine Polk, trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito, trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.8, consider adoption of resolution 25-183, approving the establishment of an IRC Section 115 trust through the Pension Rate Stabilization Program administered by Public Agency Retirement Services and authorizing the execution of an adoption agreement, an administrative service agreement, and other related documents. Chancellor?
Move approval.
Second.
Any comments, Chancellor?
This resolution authorizes the district to establish the Section 115 irrevocable trust to begin pre-funding CalSTRS and PERS retirement obligations as outlined in the board's direction in February. In line with state guidance and best practices, this trust, administered through PAR's Pension Rate Stabilization Program, will allow the district to set aside and invest funds specifically for future pension costs. The initial $3 million contribution in fiscal year 25-26 will help stabilize rising retirement rates, improve long-term financial planning, and provide a flexible reserve to use when revenues are constrained.
Any comments, board members?
Thank you. Sometimes as a trustee, you look at the financial obligations and challenges in the district, and it's just overwhelming. The mismatch between our present resources and then our forward-looking obligations are kind of frightening. And one of the things I appreciate about the approach this administration is taking to these financial challenges is one, just looking at them real squarely and saying, look, this is a problem. Here are the dollars. Let's do the math. Let's not shrink away from this challenge, but then beginning to chip away at it. So, this isn't going to solve us, but it's a brick in a big wall. Let's keep going. I think it's worth noting that we are chipping away at some of these bigger problems, and we'll figure it out. So thank you. That was all.
Any other comments? Call the question.
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.10, consider adoption of resolution, 10.9. A lot of tens tonight. Item 10.9, consider approval of master service agreements and project authorizations for RFP 24-25-18 for district-wide community-based safety and security services, Diligent Security, Aventus Security Group, and Marina Security Services.
Move approval.
Second.
Chancellor, comments?
Good evening, trustees. So this item approves 5-year master service agreements with Diligent Security Group, Aventus Security, and Marina Security Services to provide campus safety services district-wide, along with authorizing specific project assignments. To ensure transparency and student-centered input, the district issued a formal RFQP in May 2025 and received proposals from 8 firms. A diverse evaluation committee, including students, faculty, college, and district staff, reviewed and scored submissions across 5 criteria. The selected vendors demonstrated strong alignment with the district safety goals, including a community-based approach, clear staffing plans, and competitive pricing. I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to publicly thank and acknowledge Marina Security Services for their partnership over the last several years as the district transitioned its security services. Having a partner grow with the district has been appreciated, and this new MSA model establishes a pool of pre-approved vendors, which includes Marina. These agreements are part of our overall work on strengthening the Department of Community Safety under the leadership of Executive Director Abdul Pridgen, which includes district-wide training and conflict de-escalation, the expansion and reinvigoration of our student safety aid program, improvements of our safety technology systems, including video monitoring enhancements for dispatch services, and the launch of the Peralta Safety app earlier this year. The action that the board takes tonight establishes the pool of 3 security companies, 2 of whom have current assignments. We've also recommended including Marina Security in the pool. We will have time to meet with them regarding any concerns they may have with the master service agreement. While we can move forward without Marina, my recommendation remains to keep Marina in the group. If they are material changes to the master services agreement, they will be agendized for the board's consideration. I also want to note that the RFPQ process included a formal bid protest process. The deadline to file a bid protest was yesterday, June 9th at 3 p.m. The district did not receive any timely bid protests. It is my recommendation that the board move forward with this item tonight, not only because we had a strong process, but also because it is important that we not have a break in good coverage for the district safety services beginning in July. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. Call the question. Oh, sorry. Questions?
Yeah, thank you. I want to start by saying that I think the are we the largest employer? We're in the region, one of the largest employers. So we're one of the largest employers in the region with a huge economic impact in our communities. We, through education, I really believe one of the reasons I'm here is because through education, we can raise economic opportunities for our community. We can increase wages for our community, put people into good jobs and change lives. And so it was really important for me to hear directly from security officers currently working for Marina about the importance of having union representation for a voice on the job stability, as well as how it changed their lives because of the wages that they're able to earn through a union job and the health benefits that they're given. So I'm wondering, Chancellor, if you can speak to the difference in wages between the different contractors that bid for this project.
So thank you for the comments, Board Vice President. I'm happy to respond to your thing. So the overall proposals came in. So again, I'll ask CO Nelson to chime in if I've missed anything, but so just for context, Diligent and Aventus, their overall proposals, folks did an overall proposal were at 5.5 million, Aventus at 5.5 and Marina at 5.7. And if we just took a look at a couple of things, shift supervisors and I'll do it in order, Diligent, Aventus, and then Marina. So with shift supervisors range from 42 for Diligent, $40 an hour for Aventus, and 47 for Marina. Safety ambassadors was $34, then $34.50, and then $38. And then Mobile Patrol, another example, $42 for both the first 2 companies, and then $47. So a range of anywhere from $4 to, there's a range for those couple that I pulled.
Yeah, I mean, that's a significant difference. We're talking about a difference of $5 to $7, a difference of, between, I guess, $5 and $7 for those different positions, which in my experience changes lives. And can mean the difference between, being able to pay for your medical bills, put food on the table, pay your rent, especially as cost of living continues to increase in the Bay Area. So I guess I'm really concerned about the impact that this could have on jobs, lost jobs, as well as lowering the floor on wages by moving forward without Marina Security as one of the main contractors.
So the before you tonight is to approve a master services agreement with Marina Security as well. So again, right now project proposals are ahead, but we don't know what else, you don't know what's going to happen. So again, it starts a negotiation process. There's a proposal ahead for these other 2. I want to just remind the board that this was actually this was a best value RFPQ process. It wasn't a low bid price one. So 50% of the scoring was on overall reproach. And so the scoring sheet and the details are in sort of the packet that are there for the board. So between the top 3 companies that we are awarding bids to through the scoring process, the top 2 received total scores of 537 and 536, with Marina coming in at the third with a 43-point difference at 493 points. And then there was a 17-point differential between the next company and Marina. So between those two. So we wanted to move forward and honor the RFPQ process. Again, this is part of that ability for us to maintain services and to do additional work on these things.
Thank you. You know, for people who don't necessarily remember or follow the path of this particular contract, I want to point out how much better this process is and the outcome is than where we were. So, you know, if we go back to the days of before George Floyd was murdered, the board had been consistently asking the administration to reevaluate the contract that we had with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department and give us options. And we did that year after year after year with no results. There was a moment, a tragic moment when George Floyd was very publicly and brutally murdered, and it led to mass protests throughout the country. And this board and this administration then had the resolve at that moment to cancel the sheriff's contract and move to a very different approach for community safety. And it was rough. It was sloppy. We made mistakes. We have a huge debt of gratitude to the reporters at the Citizen who did a lot of important investigative work to help us understand where we were and where we were falling short. We brought in teams of people who got us straightened out. And then we ended up bringing on Marina Security for a couple of years here as a transition of where we're going. And we're not where we want to be, but we're so much further. And I just want to point that out. We have a community safety committee now, which is which holds a pretty high place in the shared governance rankings, which is really important. We have this master services agreement, which is much more clear than what we'd originally been going out with. And there was a process of evaluating this that included a lot of students. I mean, kind of an unprecedented number of students. I think those are all really important advances in our processes, whatever other mistakes might have been made. And I don't know that there were, but that's the allegation. And let's just like give a little credit where it's due. I think I also have some concerns about unions, and I guess this is a question for General Counsel, and I should have given you a heads up that I was going to ask this, and I apologize. But as we do our ranking, and we put out our RFQ, RFP, et cetera, is it possible to build into the evaluation structure a preference for higher wage, higher road employers, better benefits, better wages, and unionization of those employees? Is there a way in which, when we're formally doing our scoring, that could have been built in? Is that legal to do? So I'd just love to hear thoughts on that.
Thank you for the question, Trustee. I don't know. I'd have to do a bit of research to get you a solid answer, but I do believe the district already has preferences for things for example, being a small local business enterprise. Those are things. So I believe that in that same vein, we are able to do other we are able to look for the various values that the district holds. And I do think that in this instance, you have identified some of those things by the small business enterprise and other indicators that did weigh into the process.
And I want to point out that the RFP itself also incorporates a lot of important values that we've learned over the course of our history with this, including approach to violence prevention, dealing with alternative methods of community safety, et cetera. So there are a lot of things that were built into this already. Moving forward, I think it'd be worth thinking about as a board representing community values, if that's something that we want to consider as part of our principles of contracting. But those also have to be vetted legally, et cetera. So thank you.
Trustee Johannes?
Thank you. Well, first, half of what I was going to say has already been said by trustees Gonzalez's, if you will. But there's two Gonzalez's. Yeah. Yes. But I do want to just reiterate that the point about the unionization and such. If we hadn't had Marina on prior to, and then we decided to add them, yes, that's a huge difference regarding pricing, and we'd have to work things out. But the fact that we have been working with Marina and then they switched to unionize, it's all, I'm not going to call it this, but it feels as though it could be a form of reprimand of sorts because they're helping their employees. And I don't want it to feel as though, oh, now it's a $7 difference. We can't do that any longer. But the $7 difference is very clearly because of unionization. That's the first portion. The second portion, of course, I was going to mention what Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen mentioned, but I'll leave that alone. I did want to respond to the point system that you were discussing. I wasn't able to write down the exact points, but you said there was a 43-point difference between third and first, and then a 17-point difference between third and second, third being Marina, right? The only issue, I understand that, but the only issue, even in public comment, was mentioned that they put two contracts up that were identical and they had a 29-point difference between them. So I'm wondering about the point system altogether, right? Including that, they mentioned a few things that were concerning regarding coverage hours that were incorrect, regarding the agreement that one would agree to, that everyone has agreed to, and then they turn around and it's a completely different form, a completely different set of conditions, which they had never discussed with anyone. In addition to that, a lot of critical information was missing, as mentioned in public comment, as far as there was no compensation listed, the amount of campus hours, the actual rates. And so I'm unsure of how the contract can be approved or disapproved without that hardcore information. So I'm reading at the same time. And then the final portion, it was a rush process, as they said. If you submit it on a Friday and you ask the panel to approve by Monday or go through this complex contract by Monday, I'm not sure if that's even possible. So I'm not saying that these people are, that it's the review process was done incorrectly, perhaps because it was so quickly done that maybe some things were overlooked. So I'm just wondering that, and all that to say, I would like to table this to discuss and to understand further. I mean, I understand you're going to have things to respond with, but at the same time, this was new information for us. Your response will be new information to us, and I'd still like to gather more information to continue on to decide truly what works best for Peralta.
Well, thank you, Trustee Johannes. I appreciate the questions, and I'm happy to work in collaboration with CEO Nelson to answer some of these things. So first of all, I just want to explain the bidding process. So again, the bidding process puts out, they produce a bid. There was no pre-bid required, and there was an opportunity for RFIs, which is request for information. All bidders had the opportunity to do that. The committee spent the weekend scoring the things, and so I can certainly have CEO Nelson talk a little bit more about that. And then I want to just also remind the board that when we first were in agreement with Marina Security, they were not unionized. I don't know that it was a part of the actual scoring process at all. It was even a piece of it. Their contract with us today is significantly more than actually the cost for the contract, that we have, that they just bid on. So I just wanted to call out a couple things. CEO Nelson, do you want to talk about the process?
Sure. Good evening. So as far as the evaluation went, we did receive the bids on Friday. We had 7 evaluators, including a team of 7 students who evaluated throughout the weekend. They all volunteered their time on their own. They were not paid or compensated by the district. That was on their, they agreed to serve on this committee. Monday, we collected the scores objectively. We did not ask evaluators to change scores. So we did a mathematical scoring based on the criteria that's outlined in your board item, with 50 points going to the approach that the vendors took. With that, each evaluator could score each company up to 100 points based on that scoring criteria. So they had a 700-point total. With that, what the chancellor's already outlined, Diligence, Aventus, and Marina came in that order, 1, 2, 3. As she's mentioned, this has been a best value approach procurement. It is not a low bid procurement. Currently in our policy, nor in state law is there a requirement. I don't know the legality, I'm not an attorney, but there is no requirement for us to give preference to a unionized environment as it relates to third-party contracts. The only thing we have to do that is a public contract code for construction. We have to pay prevailing wage. That is not part of this process. Also, we did not receive a timely bid protest in this process. As far as the master service agreement, the contract, we outlined this for all 3 vendors. The contract that was posted was incorrect, and we notified folks of this. 2 of the vendors got the new MSA and agreed to the terms. Myself, I reached out to Marina Security personally. They chose not to meet with me about the MSA and outlining that structure on the MSA PAA, because that's a new process for the district. And so they chose not to meet with me because they invoked counsel. And as relates to RFIs, all vendors had the opportunity through our Planet Bids portal in a very public environment to ask RFIs related to the bid. The district answered those RFIs in a timely basis based on the dates that are publicly noticed in the RFP, and we met that deadline. So with that, I'm happy to answer other questions for the board, but I just want to provide a little color on for those items as it relates to some of the comments that have been made tonight.
Trustee Brito Gonzalez.
I think you said Brito Gonzalez. Thank you. Next. So I want to say, in my experience, I come from labor. I have had over a decade working with the Hotel Workers Union. There is a process that could be used in contracts, which is called labor peace, which allows for us to be able to mandate to a contractor that they, I'm going to misspeak here, but it's that they have a union contract because it guarantees us labor peace and protection from things like strikes and work stoppages. So I wonder if that's something we can look into as policy by the board in terms of labor peace agreement. And then I appreciate the context around the sheriffs and George Floyd. It's really, I've heard it from different people within the district, and seems like really it was a really important time. It continues to be a really important time with things going on in the world, and I maintain that as part of racial justice, economic justice is a keystone of that, which is why it's so important that the jobs that we are creating, the jobs that we maintain, are good jobs that lift up our community.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yun.
I'd like some clarification on what we're actually voting on here. It says we're approving the master services agreement and the project authorizations for Diligence, Aventus, and Marina. So if we pass this motion, we've said, yeah, here's the master services agreement. We approved this with these contractors. Then what?
So let me just give you the board a little context. So a master service agreement essentially is the terms and conditions by which you're going to do business with the district. Then from that, we assign a project authorization amendment, which outlines the scope and the price by which they submitted their bid. So the master service agreement, if you imagine, is an umbrella policy for the 5-year period. Then the reason why we went to this direction, if one of the vendors, for instance, I would just say goes out of business for whatever reason, we don't have to rebid the items. We can pick up one of the current MSA's vendors and say, can you please provide the service? Because you've already been bid, you've already gone through the public procurement process, and we can assign work through action from the board without going through another formal process and us having a gap in coverage for these services. So essentially the MSA sits at the top and the PAs get tacked on by location. And it's the same process we're using for the construction area as well.
And so then the specific subcontracts under the MSA would come back to the board for approval.
That's correct.
So all we're doing today is we're voting to engage in an MSA and offer the MSA to all three. If they all sign, then you sit down and negotiate with them on specific contracts, and that's where, but all we're doing today is the MSA.
So we're doing the MSA. The two top scoring vendors have already agreed to the MSA.
Yes.
And then we're also asking the board to authorize the project authorization amendments for the first two companies, so we don't have a lapse in coverage, because Marina's current contract expires on June 30th, and we have no ability to extend them any further.
Okay. So those two contracts, can you say a bit more about them then?
Yeah, so Diligence Group has a master service agreement. Under item 10.9, it's item number 6. So I try to itemize out the attachments at the bottom because there were so many. So you'll see the master service agreement for Diligent. Then right below that, item number 7 through 11, you'll see the project authorization amendments for the District Service Center, Laney College, Merritt College, the mobile services, and then the district-wide safety, which is their management staff. That's the areas that are being assigned to Diligent Security. Then item number 12 is, item number 13 is the Adventus Master Services Agreement. And then items number 14, 15, and 16 are the project authorization amendments for Berkeley City College, College of Alameda, and their management staff as it relates to the Adventus Master Services Agreement. And then we put the proposal for Marina that they submitted for their bid process, and then the Master Service Agreement that we proposed for Marina Security, that would be there. If the board were to approve the Master Service Agreement for all, and Marina wanted to make substantive changes, that Master Service Agreement that would be renegotiated would come back with a potential PAA in the future. All PAAs and all Master Service Agreements have to be approved by the board.
Okay, so Laney and Merritt are going to Diligence.
Correct. And
the District Service Center, and is that also dispatch?
That's correct.
Okay. And then Adventus is getting
BCC and COA.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Yohanas?
Just a quick question. You mentioned, well, of course, the contract will end June 30th, the end of the fiscal year. In public comment, they did mention that some of the last changes were given like June 4th, June 7th, things of that nature that was never negotiated prior to. So it does again feel a bit rushed to change something very quickly and sort of force us to approve because the fiscal year's ending.
So that on it, well, so we've been working on this for several months at this point, and we put the bid out. The dates that were mentioned on Monday when we came to a conclusion, I issued an informal notice of intent to award so I could get notice out immediately to all the vendors. And then Tuesday, we issued the formal notice of intent to award to all three companies that were being selected by the committee as a recommendation to the board. The dates on that you're talking about, all three companies received the revised master service agreement, because as I said before, the agreement that was attached to the RFP was incorrect. It was actually an independent contractor consultant agreement, which is in the incorrect form. So we submitted the MSA to the three companies, and then Diligent and Adventus agreed to the terms of that contract the next day. Marina objected to it. We asked to meet with them so we could help explain. They chose not to, and we decided to move on. We want to include Marina. We want to work with them in good faith, but we also need to understand what their concerns are. They have not shared those concerns as of yet.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. You did say that they chose not to meet, but it was prior to this, you said it was because they sought counsel. So it wasn't that they neglected to meet. They were going through a different process, correct?
Well, I have email confirmation. They chose not to meet with me.
Because of choosing to move forward.
Well, no, they chose before that. Then they said they were invoking counsel. Yes.
Is it possible, we have one more meeting before the end of this fiscal year. Is it possible to have a full presentation on this and we vote on that then? Because we're asking a bunch of questions that everything is brand new information to us in this moment. This is $5+ million.
Well, my concern would be from an operational standpoint, we can't stand a company up in a week. So that'd be the only concern. We would have a lapse in coverage after June 30th because Marina does not, legally, we don't have the ability to extend Marina any further because they're at their 5-year limit by law. And then we do not have a contract in place to go forward. So we would have a gap in coverage in some form if the board chose to wait till the 24th to take this up.
Feels forced.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that we are at that point. No. We've worked really hard to not have things rushed through and feeling like we're at the board is getting information that it needs to vote on because there's a deadline that is looming over us. So that I would just say that. And I think under this plan, the way I'm hearing it, I understand there's a pool. I understand the company could go out of business, but that likely marina security guards are not going to be getting work under this plan. So that's how I'm interpreting what I'm hearing.
Currently, the project authorization amendments are just for Diligent and Aventus. That's correct. And I would say those companies have and are willing and will be seeking to recruit a lot of the members of the marina security staff if they so choose to come on board.
For lower wages.
Trustee Polk.
Thank you. I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues talking about unionization and adding that as a criteria, not just for public safety vendors, but for all vendors. So that's something hopefully we can look into in the future. The other thing is I wanted to ask another clarifying question around timeline. If we knew that the marina security contract was going to be up on June 30th, why wasn't the process started sooner?
We did start sooner, and we've been working on this all spring semester. We even got an extension that the board approved for Marina to go through June 30th, and they knew we were going out for a bid. So that they got a 4-month extension, knowing that we were having to go out for a public bid at this point in time. So that was known to Marina well ahead of time.
Trustee Reese.
A few things. I want to again go back to what Trustee Nikki had just said earlier on. So in 2020, the idea was that Marina was only going to be kind of our temporary security as we move towards safety community. The first contract that we signed with Marina was 12/15/20, and I think the idea for the board at that time was that maybe we'd have something in place by 1/30/21. It's 2025. Marina has had contracts with us for 5 years. And so I think that's one thing that's important. And what I'm hearing you say, CO Nelson, is that this 5-year mark, maybe I'm missing something here, but this 5-year mark by law is all we could do with Marina.
That's correct. 60 months by procurement law is as long as you're going to have an agreement.
I'm sorry, what?
Without rebidding, right?
That's correct. You have to rebid, which is the process we just went through.
Okay. And then the other thing that I want to have you restate again, Chancellor, is that what Marina had put forth in terms of not that this was about the lowest bidder at all, but the price that they had put forth in the bid was considerably lower than what we are currently paying Marina. Is that right?
That's correct. So our current contract with Marina is just a hair under $6 million. Their current proposal is $5,706,907. Okay. So, and I would just mention, as we've talked about before, their current contract is not prevailing wage. So I'm usually with prevailing wage, the cost of the contract goes up, not down. Right. So it's actually going down from what it currently is now.
And then just for context, what we paid Marina 12/15 to 1/30, there may have been other charges afterwards, was 1.6, that original contract. So we started with a 1.6 million when we first signed the contract, and the current contract that we're on is 6 million, and what they bid was actually less than.
That's correct.
getting that straight. And you went through, I'm hearing from board members in response to what they're hearing from public comment, is that they feel that it was rushed. You went through a process. Nobody in administration had actually been part of that scoring process. It was students that you had that partook in that scoring process.
So no, it was a mix. So students were part of the process, and you had classified faculty and administrators on the scoring committee.
Okay.
And it was representation in your board item. So it was made up of staff from College of Alameda, faculty from Merritt College, District Service Center administrator, student safety aides. There were 7 in total, but they had 1 vote per se, right, when it comes to this committee. And we had a representative from Laney College as well. So we had a cross-representational group, and 2 of the larger areas being Merritt and Laney are the 2 big areas for security.
And I'm under the impression that they were provided the information from which they could vote and score on, which of course, we as trustees, we did not participate in that, nor should we ever, but that's what the district participation had decided.
That's correct. So Executive Director Pridgeon did a yeoman's level of work trying to pull the committee together well before the bid was due to make sure everybody was committed to scoring, because there was a tight turnaround time. Everybody committed to do it. We had 1 person drop out. There was 8 total. We had 1 drop. I personally shepherded the process through to make sure it met all the criteria of procurement law, to make sure that, because I knew the sensitivity of this item, it was all covered. We did mathematical scores so that it was unrefutable what the scores were objectively by each member of the committee to go forward. And so the recommendation is based on the mathematical scores without prejudice from the 7 members of that committee.
I think that sounds quite thorough. And I think that there's a part of me as a board member that feels actually rather hesitant to intervene in that process, especially after the fact. And I believe our next board meeting is when? Are we on recess?
The next meeting is the 26th. It's scheduled as a board study session.
Okay, so we're not doing anything at that meeting because it's our study session, and it's the 26th of June, and the contract
27th, 24th, one of those days in June, sorry.
Trustee Bria.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I mean, we didn't have a role earlier in the process. This is our role right now. So I think it's perfectly acceptable for us to be able to weigh in at this moment with concerns and our thoughts related to this contract.
Are there any other comments?
Thank you. I think at this point, we're raising some policy issues that we hadn't raised in the past, though. And so, you know, like Trustee Napoli-Bellarice, I'm reluctant to step in now and say, well, we didn't like that process, or we didn't like these criteria. Go back and fix this. I think it's really appropriate to raise these as policy and value questions for issues moving forward. But I'm reluctant to go in and mess with this process very carefully or very much at this late date. I did have a question about the makeup of the committee. Thank you very much for laying that out. Was there representation from the Holistic Safety, Security, and Wellness Advisory Committee on that?
Yes, sir. There was 3 members on the committee from the Holistic Safety and Wellness Committee.
Okay. So we've got 3 people from a shared governance committee. We've got 7 students. That's, in my knowledge at Peralta, that's unprecedented. I've never heard of that. 7 students being involved in evaluating a committee. 7 knowledgeable students who were engaged in the process. So, you know, I share the concerns about the wages and working conditions, and I think we're going to have to address that moving forward. And I'm glad we're raising it right now. But I'm ready to vote. Thanks.
Are there any other comments?
Just one last clarification question based on the scoring system. You said it was irrefutable mathematics behind it. Are you saying that perhaps each section you score 1 out of 10, or there's a full rubric? If they meet this, you must score this. If you meet this, you must score this.
There's a full rubric. It's item number 2 in that item. Attachment number 2, and I'll just read them real quick. So number 1 was approach, understands the needs of the district, provides cost-effective but thoughtful proposal. That was 50 points. Meets objectives, understands the problem statement and defines appropriate objectives. That was considered 15 points. The fee proposal is tailored to meet the needs of the district, was 15 points. Key leadership staff, they have experience with community-based restorative justice techniques, was considered 10 points, and then references were considered 10 points. Additionally, firms that were SLBE qualified could receive a maximum of 5 additional points, which 2 of those firms did receive additional 5 points. That being Diligence and Marina. Those additional SLBE points were considered as part of their score.
Any further questions or comments? Call the question.
Student trustee
Can I
Burns,
make one comment? Is that okay? Very quickly.
Student trustee Burns,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Did you want to make a comment or?
I did. I just wanted to say I am a little bit rather confused on what exactly we're voting for, and I do, and I don't want to ask another clarification question, but that if someone could tell me what I'm voting for, I'd be very grateful. And I do share my concerns with my fellow trustee members, and so I just want to voice that.
Thank you, student trustee Burns. So let me respond to your question. So the board is considering item 10.9, which is considering the approval of 3 master services agreements for district-wide community-based safety and security services with Diligence Security, Aventa Security, and Marina Security, Inc., and project authorizations that were discussed tonight. And then the discussion was related to the process, related to the RFPQ process, and the inclusion of students, faculty, and staff in the scoring process for the bids.
Okay, because for myself, I was a part of a different scoring process. I am with Mr. Abdul Pridgen, so I don't think I was a part of the committee that was previously mentioned with 7 students that Trustee Nikki mentioned, but it's just rather confusing to me, and so I think I might have to vote no until I understand that we're on tight schedule with the contract coming up in at the end of this month, but I think I need more time to understand what exactly I'm voting for, so I might have to vote no on this until I find out more.
So your vote said no.
Probably, yeah. No.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
No.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
No.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.10, consider adoption of resolution 24-25-178 for Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees to establish signatory theater.
Could we
Authority.
combine this with 10.11, approval of delegation of authority during the board summer recess?
Second that.
And I'll move approval. Withrow.
Trustee Withrow is the second. Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 10.11, consider approval of delegation of authority. Oh, we just did that one, sorry. 10.12, Consider approval of First Amendment to Employment Agreement between the Peralta Community College District and Dr. Camille Gilkerson, Chancellor.
Move approval.
Second.
So this is a one-year extension on the back of the Chancellor's 3-year contract.
Yes,
So this would be for
till 2028.
27, 28.
Yeah.
Okay.
So trustees, this item is bought at the direction of the board. This adds the 1-year amendments, the first amendment of the Chancellor's agreement. Based on the positive evaluation, the board's direction was to provide you with an amendment that extends a 1-year add-on, and that's what the item before you tonight.
Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I was just scratching.
Oh. Call the question, please.
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Hey, you know, we didn't get a chance to comment, and I'm going to just say yes, enthusiastically.
thank you, sir. Trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Effusively.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes, and thank you.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Absolutely, yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Booyah, yeah.
Motion passes.
All right.
So on items 1014, 1015, oops, sorry. 1013, consider adoption of resolution in support of the Bay Area Community Colleges Mutual Support Compact to advance student success, academic excellence, and workforce opportunity.
Move approval.
Second.
Chancellor, can you?
So trustees, tonight, this resolution affirms Peralta Community College District's commitment to the Bay Area Mutual Support Compact, a regional collaboration among community college districts to defend academic freedom, institutional integrity, and shared governance. Initiated by CEOs from Regions 4 and 5, this compact responds to escalating political and ideological pressures, including interference in institutional decision-making, retaliation against educators, and efforts to undermine public trust in higher education. These challenges are intensifying. Aggressive ICE enforcement actions and federal travel bans have raised alarm across our region, disrupting immigrant communities and placing international students, many of whom we serve, in a state of fear and uncertainty. These actions really threaten inclusivity, safety, and access that define our public colleges. They also represent a broader pattern of resistance of DEIA efforts targeting initiatives that aim to expand opportunity, foster equity, and reflect the diversity of our communities. In this climate, regional solidarity is not optional, it's essential. Through the compact, Peralta commits to upholding academic freedom, due process, and ethical governance while affirming our unwavering support for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. The district will actively participate in coordinated advocacy, policy development, and mutual aid, working alongside our regional partners to protect students, empower employees, and ensure our institutions remain engines of equity and opportunity. I appreciate your consideration.
Let's see.
This time I do have not a question, a comment. I just want to say, I think watching really closely what's happening in Los Angeles, what's happening to families, workers, people who are just trying to live their lives to the best way that they can and support their families, and the tremendous repression happening. I'm really glad that we are voting on this tonight. I think it's going to be of extreme importance to have this level of mutual support and collaboration, as you mentioned, as we are in this political climate. So fully support this.
Trustee Polk?
Thank you. I want to echo what Trustee Gonzalez Brito said. Thank you so much for bringing this forward. It's really heartening to see that Peralta is going to be continuing to commit to our students and to our community and our staff. And so I would request that you bring back any relevant information from these convenings and meetings. I'd love to hear what folks are saying and how we can be a part of it.
Thank you, Trustee Delphine Polk. I wanted to just recognize too, the trustees were involved at the recent trustee convening to have a conversation from our regions as well. And so there's mutual commitment, the leadership from the boards of all these, the regional delegations appreciate our trustees for being involved in those conversations and helping support this effort and galvanizing us to continue the work. So thank you.
Thank you for that recognition. So I think it's important to understand that, you know, there are a bunch of different tracks that we're working on here. And, you know, as we move district resources into appropriate use, there are also other things that we're doing. And as elected officials, we're working with other elected officials in the Bay Area and around the state to create a broader force of political leverage outside of the realm of the district resources. So, you know, this is one appropriate track that we can engage in using public resources. And then there are the private things that we can do. And I'm sure everybody will be hearing more about that as we move forward. I really appreciate the administration's collaboration. And it was really heartening to see that we weren't alone in this at all. And so, you know, there were chancellors from Solano and from Foothill De Anza and you know, the entire region. We're really, really not alone in this. I think this is just creating a bit of formality about what resources we're going to begin figuring out to put into play. Thank you.
Let's see. Call the question.
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So items 10.14, 10.15, 10.16. I have to recuse myself on this because I have investments in one of these companies that creates a conflict of interest. So.
Oh, quick point of order, Board President. We still have to action item 7.14. Oh, okay.
So I'll move approval of all three of these items. This is an Oracle contract and then purchase order report and payment warrant report.
Second that move.
And you're reading, I've got a question.
Is there discussion?
Chancellor, I neglected to ask you this before the meeting. I don't think this is super complicated though. On item 10.14, the Oracle contract, we've spent, you know, 20 years with various parts of this apparatus, and we've spent tens of millions of dollars doing this. Every couple years, we come up and pony up a couple million more. Is this just one of the routine couple million more, or is this something special?
Well, everything's special, trustee Gonzalez.
No, but you know, like they're just routine licenses, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's just the cost of using this stuff, as
Yeah.
opposed to we're going to do a serious upgrade and implement PeopleSoft 10.x million.
Well, so this contract before you tonight, it authorizes upgrades to PeopleSoft, our ERP system. We must have this system to run. So this runs things like HR, finance, campus solutions, which is our student part, and it implements Oracle 23, the AI tools that are part of this setup of disaster recovery systems and other things. And I'll let
Yeah, so thank you, Chancellor. So I appreciate the comment. The other part of this contract, it also puts our data warehouse in the cloud, which is something we don't have currently. Also, too, just so the board knows, we're about, I think, 6 versions behind right now on PeopleSoft from where we should be. PeopleSoft has a kind of a ongoing clock when it regards to PeopleSoft. And so they haven't started that clock yet as far as when they want to get out of the business. They said it's a 10-year clock. They haven't started that yet. But we are bound to PeopleSoft in a lot of respects, as the Chancellor mentioned. So just so this is also a 3-year contract. So it's not a single item for 1 year. It's a 3-year item. And then this is the first half. The other half will expire in August. We'll be bringing that back for the other section of Oracle that we have to approve. That is not ready to go live yet. So we're still working off the existing agreement. That will be coming back, and we mentioned that in our board item that we will be bringing that back in August. But nonetheless, this is a requirement for us for technical engineering support, cloud infrastructure, et cetera, and it's to bring us up to date where we should be in relation to PeopleSoft. As I mentioned, we're about 6 versions behind where we should be.
So when we come back in August, what's the bill going to be for that one?
So you're going to be a little over about 2.7, but that's for a different section. So that's like hardware upgrades. We have some of the stuff that we have programmed specific to Peralta. We're going to be rolling that into the software as an item, so we don't have to keep updating those individual reports and queries and so forth. All that programming that we've been paying extra for currently, all that's going to be rolled into the new upgrade, so we don't have to continue paying those additional service fees. So all that's going to be included in that next round. And also we're going to get some much needed upgrades around HR, finance, and campus solutions that'll help us moving forward based on our based on our current needs for the district.
And so in the next 3 years, is this 3 million plus, that's kind of what we can expect, or are we thinking next year there's another 5?
No, so this agreement plus the one you'll receive in August will satisfy us for 3 years. We won't see another bill for Oracle in relation to PeopleSoft for another 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay.
I do just want to offer Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen that there is a statewide discussion about a statewide ERP system. So I did want to just say that there are differing views on that, and there is a group that has started. These are sort of like little pilot projects that the state chancellor's office is looking at. There have been discussions about whether or not the legislature feels like that's something can be funded, or if it's something that is manageable across the board. So we are required to keep these systems going so we can interface with students and do the work. So unfortunately, but I do want you to know that there are some larger conversations. So again, feeling confident to bring you a 3-year agreement that gives us this time, and then we'll be hearing more from our statewide partners about any movement they've made on a statewide system for us.
Just one. Just one question. Sorry, I was looking for Lewis. And is this related to the Common Cloud platform that the Chancellor's Office was going to do? And did they not get funded by in the May revise, or no? That's okay.
No, it's not part of the Common Cloud.
Okay.
No. And to echo the Chancellor's point, I sit on that ERP committee statewide. There is a lot of conversation around, and it's like the estimated value is around $10 billion statewide, because they want to do the UC, CSUs, and the community college system. They want to do all 3 groups and put them all in the same system. But there's a lot of consternation around, because schools are just coming on. Some people are rolling off. Some people are in the middle of the process. So while the UCs and CSUs have common systems, the community colleges do not. And that's the most complicated piece of all. And the last thing I just want to point out is this is split funded. So this is between this contract and the one you'll see in August, it's about 50% going to the bond, because it's dealing with hardware and upgrades to the ERP system. And then we have a portion going to the general fund.
Any further discussion? Okay.
Student Trustee Byrne,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli-Bellarice.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Johannes,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Brito.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so
Item
President
7.
Quinlan is on his way back, and I think we're going to item 7.14.
So pursuant to educational code, the governing board of a district may grant the use of college facilities for grounds for public literary, scientific, recreational, education, or public agency meetings. The district last approved a facility rental schedule in 2017, and I want to actually acknowledge and thank Dr. David M. Johnson from Merritt College for spearheading the work district-wide on behalf of the colleges and their administrative services offices on the review of actually our policy, our procedure, and helping us get and work through a facilities updated cost. And we have had many facilities have been updated, and additional costs have increased over the past 8 years. And so the attached fee schedule is in alignment with the policy and procedure that govern rental of facilities from the Civic Center Act. So that's what's before you tonight.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
I guess that's me. I did want to pull this because, of course, I'm not on the grounds daily, the soccer field, the swimming pool, all of that. So I don't have direct information, but I received direct information from those who are there daily. And there were some concerns regarding, as you mentioned, well, the whole thing is the rental, but some of them, there were differences between renting a field for practice versus renting a field for a game, or renting the swimming pool for practice versus a game. And it's the same sort of time frame or usage of it. And so the concerns were from those on the ground as to why that is. And that being said, we can have that conversation, and then hopefully we can bring this to a vote next time, because similar to the last item that we discussed, what you'll provide me today, I still would like to open that conversation to those individuals on the ground. Right?
So can I have CO Nelson address the differences in the schedule?
Sure. And, I'll ask Dr. Johnson if he can to help me with the practice versus game. But I do know, after running facilities for a really long time, the game component is a much more expensive proposition for the district to operate versus having a practice, because we have to have security, we have to have concessions, et cetera. So there's part of the difference, and also the supervision thereof. So I wanted to point out also, in addition to what the chancellor mentioned, prior to this unified rate schedule, all the colleges had different rates for the same facilities. And so this is an attempt to unify the colleges into one district-wide fee schedule. So in addition to that, part of the additional increases as it relates to the fee schedule is also we're going to a new platform. Right now, we do facility rentals the old-fashioned way, almost like carbon copy paper. We do old-fashioned paper contracts to do rentals. We have scheduling issues. We have classes that overlap with rentals, et cetera. So the platform we're moving to, which is called Facilitron, we're going with BCC and COA first, and then we're bringing on the other two colleges. But part of that, some of the challenges we have with just rentals in general is people will come to us saying they're a nonprofit. We don't have a way to verify that, whether that their nonprofit is valid or not. The platform we're moving toward has the ability to bounce their 501c3 status off the IRS database. In addition, a lot of renters do not have the ability to get insurance to indemnify the district shall somebody get hurt. The platform allows hourly insurance rent, so you can buy insurance from this platform on an hourly basis so that they can be covered. And I would also just add that nonprofit versus corporate rate, the corporate rate looks scary and is supposed to be by law. Also, too, I'd say 90+% of our rentals are nonprofit. They're not corporate. So everything from churches to soccer teams, et cetera, they're all considered nonprofits as it relates to rentals. The new platform we're moving to has a fee component. It's almost, if you imagine, like a Ticketmaster for rentals, facility rentals. So we've built the fee schedule for that platform into this fee schedule. Otherwise, we would have to pass that off independently to the individual users. So by baking it into the fee schedule, then that way the district can cover the costs, and we don't have to incur individual renter challenges as it comes to rolling this software out. And then lastly, I would just mention, this will make it much more efficient for us to collect fees. We do have vendors who are in arrears up to 2 years owing us fees for rentals because we don't have a mechanism to force the issue other than not rent. And so there becomes lots of other issues when it comes to having rates. Also, it allows us to help serve the public more efficiently because it's more public. And so people can see the classroom schedule, when things are available and when they're not, versus having to wait for staff to call them back, et cetera. It'll all be on a public platform so they can see. And then also, too, from a maintenance standpoint, we can use the platform to block out, on the schedule, to where maintenance can schedule rooms and you get in there without having to worry about it being rented or having a class, et cetera. It allows us a lot more visibility and a lot more transparency with the public. But those fees related to that software package are built into this fee schedule as well. So that's just give you some background on where we're at. And in many respects, we're under the current market for fees as it relates to facilities. So a lot of the rates around us for the YMCA and others are still higher than our current fee schedule that we're proposing.
Trustee Delphine.
Sure.
Thank you for that information. That's really helpful, and I really appreciate the work that went into this. My question is, it's a little bit more simple, but it's, are other districts using something of this kind as well?
Yes.
We're not, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no. You're exactly right. I think we're one of the last to come on board to Facilitron in the Bay Area. Facilitron's a no cost to the district because it's passed off to the users. Some districts opt to pay it versus bake it in, et cetera. There's different varieties. My last district, I know the chancellor's last district, we all use Facilitron. And so it's a common platform for K-12 and community colleges now. And so you're seeing it more and more throughout the system. I think Facilitron now has over 700 users as far as agencies that are using their platform.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Trustee Ewan?
Chancellor, can you describe the process that went into revising the schedule?
I think I might be able to provide a little bit of context. So essentially what we did was we had enlisted my Vice President of Administrative Services, Marie Amboy, to take a look at the rates that the other districts or sister districts were charging. Again, as the Chancellor mentioned, we had not updated our fee schedule since 2017. Comparison to Las Positas, 2021, Ohlone 2021, Chabot 2023, City 2023, Contra Costa 2023, and City 2020. So we have actually, you can't see it, I have a chart in front of me that it has every community college district's rates from classrooms to theaters to auditoriums, all the way through the athletic facilities. And I can tell you that this is an attempt to have a bit more parity compared to some of the other districts. I can tell you that, I'll just pick 4 things, and we'll just use the nonprofit because as CEO Nelson noted, the majority of our rentals are nonprofit organizations. So essentially, in 8 years, essentially what we would be doing with this is raising, for the gym, for example, raising it from $85 to $137. And again, that also incorporates the Facilitron fees, which is still less than what Las Positas does, what Chabot does. SMCCD, which I didn't mention, theirs is $125. But that was back in 2011. So that's 14 years. So we're trying to get parity. Just again, the track, we're raising it from $150 to $171. We're raising the soccer field from $125 to $200, and the football field wouldn't change at all for the nonprofit. So I would just note that obviously these facility fees, they help the colleges build up our Fund 10, and the Fund 10 monies go back into the sports, into our facilities, and to our students, and to our athletic programs. And I would also note that I think that we've invested significantly in some of our facilities. They're very attractive. They're attractive both aesthetically, and they're attractive to folks because they're cheap, and that's why they want to use them. So given that, I think that, and there may be a fear that some may have, but I think that I don't think that the fee increase are cost prohibitive, and I think that we're going to continue to have people come to our campus sites to utilize the facilities, because again, I think that it's really just an attempt to achieve parity with our sister colleges.
Thank
you. I appreciate the conversation with this and the just the information that you've provided. I again would like to table this to ensure that there's an open dialogue with those on the ground. So I'm not saying I'm for or against, but I just want this information to be passed along and to understand. So perhaps they'll say, why wasn't there a difference between games and practices in 2017, right? I understand that there's a reason why, but I just want those on the ground to feel a part of this, to feel like that they're a part of this conversation.
So I'm happy to pull the item and bring it back on board for your consideration, if you'd like more time for us to discuss it. I think we have requirements around Civic Center. We have colleges who've asked us, right? Again, this has been college-led to say we really need, this is an area we've asked for efficiencies for the district, looking at how we are sort of, this is an opportunity to get revenues for the district and also to keep our facilities up. We're required by the Civic Center Act also in the way that we use bond funds to make sure that we have established schedules so that we're actually making sure that we're staying in alignment. So I'm not sure how much different the information would be if we brought it back again. I think the colleges have been very interested. We've been working on this for over almost 10 months, I think, on the back and forth between the colleges reviewing the fee schedules, looking at the policy, doing those updates, having discussions, doing the research that Dr. Johnson just illustrated. So I know that colleges are very, very hungry for this sort of schedule and things. So, but I'm happy to do what the will of the board is.
I'll withdraw my second. Means that if we're going to move forward, we need another second. I don't know. I think withdraw was the primary, made the motion. So if Bill, you withdraw your motion, then we can just move on. You want to vote on this tonight?
I would like to. Well, maybe I'll make a comment first. And my comment is that I'm actually quite excited that we are really starting to create policies, administrative procedures, and we are sticking to them, I think. And yeah, I just looked at the Civic Center Act specifically, and these are things, everything that's delineated in the Civic Center Act are the things that we should have been doing. And I think historically, what I've heard is that many people have been using our facilities and they've been going to different board members over the years in the past and different prices, and some people got it free and some people didn't, and this is in the past. And so it's nice to know that we are actually moving in the direction of there's a standard, there's a policy, there are prices, things are clear, and that we are on par with all the other community colleges across the state. And so I would like to, depending on what the
Trustee Johannes, did you make a motion to table?
Oh, yeah,
Well, if you do, then I'll second it and then we can vote on the motion to table.
So
And
there's a
that's
motion
not
on the floor.
debatable. We'll just be done.
There's
And-
currently a motion on the table to approve this item.
But a motion to table proceeds. So if she makes a motion to table, I'll second it. And if, let's just get this done.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's just decide whether we're voting on this.
Are we still on discussion?
I don't think there's any discussion on a motion to
There's
table.
There is discussion. Yes.
I just want to say, if we bring this back, can we get just the information you provided around what the fees were and what they are now, or what we're proposing? That would be helpful information.
There isn't a motion.
Move to table?
No,
Second. So now there's a motion to table, there's a second, it's not debatable, we just vote
Right.
on the table. Let's just quit debating this.
Call the question on the motion to table.
Yes,
Who was the second? I apologize.
I seconded the motion to
Okay.
table, I just want to get this done with and move on.
Student trustee Byrne,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes,
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
No.
trustee Delphine Polk. Yes. Trustee Brito, Gonzalez Brito. Trustee Quinlan.
No,
Motion passes.
Just once again, that information would be really helpful to have for the next meeting that we have this. I think it's a great discussion to have. Thank you.
Absolutely, I'm happy to do it.
trustees reports.
All right. So two things, and they both are with the Alameda County Veterans Commission. Let me look at as you know, I'm on the Veteran Commission. I serve as the woman veteran, not even District 3, which I'm part of, but I serve as the actual woman veteran. on the board. And on June 12th, which is this Thursday, it's Women Veteran Recognition Day. This is our second year recognizing it or having an event for this. It will be at 7 p.m. at the Alameda Naval Air Museum. Yes, this Thursday, June 12th. And just FYI, what June 12th represents, it's the Women to Armed Services Integration Act. So we were allowed. So please, there are only 12 states right now that recognize this day, and I'm not sure if there will be more based on how things are going. So please support this so we can continue to recognize women veterans. That's number one. Number two, the second thing is also Veteran Commission on June 27th and June 28th. We will hold another stand down, which I mentioned before. You come in as a veteran. And we can help you with legal issues, housing issues, get your hair cut, try to look for a job, go with veteran services. This time we'll have lawyers on site. We have, I believe, even the courts will be on site for regarding parking tickets, things of that nature. There will be a flyer sent out, and we have one more meeting, so I'll say it again. So please do, June 12th, this Thursday, 7 p.m., Alameda Naval Air Museum, and then the stand down June 28th and June 27th, June 28th, at St. Vincent de Paul, as it was the last time. They will always be at St. Vincent de Paul.
Yeah, take your mic.
So I just wanted to say that I was sorry to miss the college graduations. My husband's 104-year-old grandmother passed, so it was a great celebration of her life. But I was really happy to be at the Latinx graduation and the African American graduation. Really proud of our students and just really proud to be a part of this district. And as I said earlier, as things are happening around the world around us here in the state of California, being at those graduations and watching the beautiful video we saw just really inspires me in this time when I think we really need a lot of inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you. One thing I did want to announce, I don't know if you all know this about me, I'm on the board of directors for the Multicultural Institute, which is a West Berkeley institution serving day laborers and domestic workers. They employ a lot of Berkeley City College students as part of their internships, and they are having a 30-year celebration of their organization next Wednesday in Piedmont. I'm happy to send out the information to everyone in case you want to come and support this immigrant serving institution. I'm one person who likes to go into action when the world is the way it is, and so this is one small way where I can make a small difference, is to amplify their message and hopefully get some folks to come out. So thank you.
I have the great pleasure right now of teaching a social movements class down at De Anza College, and I've been trying to help my students understand how to engage in this moment, and in particular, how to engage here at the local level. So I was really pleased and honored to have our board president, Louis Quinlan, and our chancellor visit the class via Zoom, and to give the students a really different view of what the administrator can do. I also had the president at Las Positas, Daryl Foster, there. And to just, I think for a lot of these students who view administrators and elected officials with a lot of skepticism and like, oh, you're the enemy. I think for them, it was really eye-opening to see, one, if you're a progressive person and you're social justice oriented, that using power is not a bad thing, that using power actually is a good thing. And for them to see that administrators and trustees aren't all the same. I think Lewis gave them a bit more of a radical view of how you could use power and civil disobedience and like that. And then to also understand the complexities of how when you represent an institution and you're representing the public and you've got all these different things to balance, that it's tricky and you can't always just do what you want to do because there are bigger repercussions. Anyway, I want to just thank you publicly for the intelligence and passion you brought to that group of students, and made my life a lot more pleasant just having you be there and help show these students a piece of reality. So thank you. That's it.
Anybody else?
Can I make a report very quickly? Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm very sorry I'm not there at this meeting. I'm currently visiting family in Ireland, but myself and Sophia will be attending the next meeting. I also wanted to uh congratulate all the graduates that graduated at the BCC graduation, as well as across all Peralta. And I want to give a special thank you to uh, Chancellor Tamil Gilkerson for giving that wonderful speech, as well as uh, Mayor Adina Ishi for attending our graduation and giving that speech. So thank you all very much. And that's the end of my report.
So for my remarks, I went to a bunch of graduations and they were glorious. Every time I'm just overcome by the amount of joy. I think it's a contest between where the most happiness lies between the students are graduating and their parents and friends and relatives that are there at Laney. It was amazing. The stands were overflowing. All the graduations were amazing. And I think that those graduations were proof that the ideas of diversity, equity, and inclusion are alive and well at Peralta. And there's people that want to take us back to the 1950s. And those graduations represented their worst nightmares. And it was a great joy to see that and see that our student speakers, our chancellor, our guest speakers all embraced the idea of what Peralta represented in its graduations, what our students represented in our graduations, and how well they represented our communities.
I just forgot. I forgot that it was graduation week. And you're right, graduation was really, really amazing. But I think that there's one thing that not everybody may have noticed. Mayor Barbara Lee had an amazing time when she was at College of Alameda for the graduation. I think that the spirit, the fervor, the kind of it was contagious, and she was infected by it because when she first came, she was a different person than when she was on the stage and when she left. So what was happening there on the platform, the students, the dancing that you all were doing, just made her crazy in love with College of Alameda. So it was beautiful to watch, and it was wonderful to just experience. So congratulations, all graduates.
Anybody else? Okay, we're closed. Adjourned, whatever. Oh, sorry. Announcements.
That's me. Okay. Board of Trustees reports and announcements. 1, Love Your Future. Enrollment is open for the summer and fall terms. Visit the Peralta website to start the application or enrollment process. 2, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee will meet here in the boardroom tomorrow, June 11th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. 3, on Thursday, June 12th, the Peralta Summer Institute orientation will take place at the Laney College Bistro from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The Peralta Summer Institute is for high school students looking for an amazing summer of career exploration for free. 4, save the date of Tuesday, June 17th. Soon we will be announcing the public forum schedule for the finalists for the Vice Chancellor of Human Resources position, with forums taking place on June 17th. And also on Tuesday, June 17th, the District Administrative Services team will be hosting an open house for current and prospective vendors of the Peralta Community College District. The vendor open house will be from 10 a.m. to noon here at the District Service Center in the atrium. And lastly, save the date, the Peralta Colleges Foundation Golf Tournament fundraiser will be held on Monday, September 8th, 2025. As in years past, the tournament is hosted by Dr. William Bill Riley, former Peralta trustee and current president of the foundation board. Sponsorship opportunities are available. That's it.
Close the meeting.